Hey, what's going on there? Past the Wire TV. Nothing gets you more pumped up and excited about the Saratoga meet than beautiful recollections of clips from the past. Gotta feel it.
Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com. P6K in the house. My friend Ricky, betting at my dad's window for 25 years. Dad's not there no more, but we're here.
And I always read Past the Wire. You never get a bad ride with Past the Wire.
Hey, what do you say to everybody? Geo Sette right back at you with Past the Wire. And yeah, I am excited and delighted. Saratoga 2023 is opening. If you're passionate about this game, knowledgeable about the sport, there's nothing like it. I mean, what more do you want than probably the most storied facility in all of sports? 1863, 160 years of racing. Not 20, not 40, not 80, 163 years. 160 years from 1863, to be correct. Anyway, I am here to provide the opening day card for everybody tuning in to Past the Wire TV. I am headed north Thursday morning. I will be at Saratoga for Thursday and Friday, opening day, and the day after opening day. And I've just completed a very thorough, intense, very detailed handicap of all 10 races for the opening day card. So, sure, typically I'm here for you for all the grade 1 events, and I still will be. Of course, you're going to have me for the Sanford Stakes at Monmouth. And then when we're fully fledged into Saratoga, you're going to get, I'm going to do the Jim Dandy. I'm going to do the Alabama. I'm going to do the Whitney. And of course, I'm going to do the Travis Stakes. So you'll get those all individually. But for now, who's better than you? I'm bringing you all 10 races on the opening day Saratoga 2023 race card. And it's a nice card. Let me tell you something. I just hope the skies don't open up, because I really appreciate the turf racing they have. And you know, I've been up there numerous times over the years, and one thing about that part of the state, the Adirondacks, by Saratoga Springs, Albany, everywhere upstate New York, you get these pop-up storms in the middle of the summer where it changes the face of the racing day. So I'm prepared somewhat if it happens, because there is a chance of showers on Thursday, but I'm optimistic the turf will be firm and the track will be fast. And that's the way I did all my work on. Of course, as you go through the process, by the way, if you're about to watch this entire program, it'd probably be in your best interest to have your pad and pen available so you can take notes. Because trust me, for you guys, I've done all the work, all right? And you know what? It's all about being as informed as you can be. Eventually, you're entitled to your own opinion, but I'm here to help you, because if you want to be informed, be very informed, you can trust that I've done the work, okay? Through and through. Thorough pedigree analysis, detailed film study, race replays constantly. For this full card, I probably put close to 15 hours in collectively. It's a lot of work. So trust that I've gone through the process. Past performances, I have to print them out. They're all right here in front of me. All 10 races marked up. So when I come back, after this brief word, we're going to start with race 1. I'm going to give you, ultimately, I'm going to go horse by horse. I'm going to provide my precise top 5, but you'll get a feeling as to what I'm sharing with you in terms of which other horses are contenders in a race. Because what's big, especially up in Saratoga, and for all you players that play multi-race wagering, you want to be in a position, if you have to go a little deep, to know, have an opinion on a number of horses who are contenders for the race. Okay? So I'm really looking forward to it. Be back very shortly. We'll probably do about, 5, 6, 7 minutes a race. We'll see how it goes. Hang in there. Be right
Legend
back.
himself, Frankie Dettori. Ciao, Frankie. Tutto a posto.
Tutto a posto. Yes, that's a good start. So you haven't lost your Italian.
Frankie Dettori, legend, world-class jockey, one of the best ever to sit in the saddle, ambassador to the sport of kings. Meet Frankie during his fanfare like never before, only on Past the Wire TV.
Hey, Mr. Sette is back at you. Past the Wire TV. Big Saratoga Day 1, opening day opener. Let's get going. All right? I promise I'm going to give you all 10 races. I'm set. Are you? All right. Race number 1. 1.1 miles. That's 9 furlongs. Optional claimer. Fillies and mares, 3 and up. Found it to be a very competitive field. Let's talk a little about each one of the horses. Don't forget, take your notes. Number 1 is Virtual Reality. 1 start, very impressive. Filly won her debut, going 7 panels at Belmont. Chad Brown, Manny Franco's up for Chad Brown. $300,000, daughter of cloud computing. Lots to like about this horse, but not much experience. That 1 start was well bet as the favorite, first time out. Now they're putting the horse right into a stretch out to 9 furlongs from 7, and an optional claimer. Must be considered. Will not be my top choice, but much respect for the barn, Chad Brown, and the way the horse performed in her first start. Number 2 is Mia Be a Star. Mia Be a Star. 6-year-old mare, beautiful looking gray, sort of like a veteran. You're not going to find many mares out there like this. 6 years old, 48 races, has run at the Spa 5 times. 5 starts. 3 seconds. So the horse is a bit of a horse for the course. And with that, based on experience alone, the consideration has to be there. So she is a New York bred. So it's a New York bred racing an open company. Okay. But it's not like she hasn't done that before. Torres is up, tries hard. The horse proved herself at the distance one time. I list her as a contender based on experience and the fact that she has those races over the Spas Oval. So, but the numbers don't jump at you, but certainly fits with this group of fillies. 17 for 31, lifetime in the money on the dirt. That puts her squarely in the mix with her best. Number 3 is Toned Up. Santana's up for Rob Atras. Nice bar of speed figures. I like the fact that the horse has been competitive. It's a 6-year-old mare, 7 for 12 on the money lifetime. The style is as a closer, but I feel the horse is capable of getting an alert getaway. But in a race of 9 furlongs, positioning is everything. The horse is going to need a trip. It's a daughter of Toneless. Toneless, of course, won the Belmont Stakes. Her top buyers fit with this type of group, an 82, an 80, and a 79. I was impressed with some races, but then there are other races that were sort of like no excuse, turn me off type of race. So a lot of unpredictability with this filly, with this mare. Number 4 is Honey Money, 6-year-old mare from the Wayne Potts stable. Has many good finishes. I think a tad below in terms of overall performance. Stretching out here. I think the horse is probably better off sprinting. So I'm not going to use the 4 at all. Number 5 is Bustin' Bay, Jose Ortiz, who, by the way, is finished the Belmont meet, actually winning the riding title, but as hot as any jockey could be, riding with conviction and confidence. So Irad's going to have his hands full with his brother Jose. So Jose's up on Bustin' Bay, top form. Saddled by Linda Rice. Horse always shows up. Has won, 3 out of the last 5. Also loves it wet if it gets wet out there. Definitely a contender in this field. Must be considered. If you're playing multi-race wagering, you have to use the horse. Jose Ortiz is up for the first time. It's a changeover from Dylan Davis. You can't make any arguments against her current form. 4 races at Saratoga. She's won a couple times over the track. 4 out of 5 hitting the board with 2 wins. Number 6 is Sabre Tough. Nice looking gray. And you know what? This is something that really caught my eye. Not only her physical appearance, but classy. Has run with much better, classier horses. Relu Gutierrez is up. And I'll tell you, there's nothing more than Relu Gutierrez. He would want to win the opening race at Saratoga. And he's got a damn good shot at it. This horse is a hard-hitting 3-year-old filly. Nice-looking gray. Wait till you see. She's beautiful. Getting Lasix. Like I said, Relu coming back on a horse and him getting a mount at Saratoga is pretty important in this spot. I believe the horse is going to be well bet. Horse is also very versatile. Getting the Lasix, the only stepping stone, it's a 3-year-old filly facing older mares. But her numbers and her class put a square right in this. I'm going to watch the board and take a good look at her over the track. But when I'm done going over the race, you're going to hear me sharing that that's my top choice in this race. Number 6, Sabre Tough. And the bottom horse, number 7, Ocean Gateway. Christophe Clement, Javier Castellano, connections are there. A little tad slower bio-wise. I like the steady breezes coming into the race. An optional claim of $62,000. The horse took all the money and disappointed greatly. Retreated backwards. I'm not sure what happened to the filly that day. It was at Pimlico. So it wasn't a real good measuring stick. I just knew she burnt a lot of money. Tons of money. So, outside shot, yeah, but based on that last performance, as much respect I have for Christophe Clement and Javier Castellano, I think there are better gals to take in the race. So, as I conclude race 1, my order of finish is 6, 5, 1, 2. Okay, that's Sabre Tough, Bustin' Bay, Virtual Reality, and the 2, Mia Be a Star. Like I said, if you're going really deep, it's a short field, you really shouldn't, but outsiders for your superfecta fill-ins would be the 3 and the 7. The horse I will not use on any tickets is the 4. Okay, that's race 1, Saratoga, opening day. Hopefully we get on the board in race 1, and you're alive in your pick 5s. Let's move over to race 2. This is one of my favorite type of races in the spa throughout the summer meet, all 40 days. I love those 2-year-old races, maiden specials. Most of them are first-time starters. A couple have a couple of starts or one start. It's usually a sprint, and that's what we have here. We have a $136,000, 5.5 furlong sprint on the dirt. Okay? It's a nice field. It's got 9 starters. I really had to dig down deep with my pedigree here. I'll be quick with my thoughts. I'll give you a bullet point on each horse, and I'll give you my top precise order of the 5 I feel who are best contenders. Okay? But we're going to go over horse by horse, and I'll give you my order like I did in race 1. All right, number 1 is Classy Mischief by Into Mischief, $250,000, daughter of Into Mischief. Couple of nice breezes coming into the race over the track at Saratoga. But overall, I just think the horse is overmatched in her debut in this race. Let's go to number 2, Empire Island. Now this horse is pretty impressive. Nice works, great gate work at Churchill Down. So the collective works are very steady. Daughter of Classic Empire, grandsire Pioneer of the Nile. Just gives me the indication, based on the full workout pattern, that this filly's ready to run. Gets a good post, a 2 post, 5.5 furlongs. Santana is up for Norm Cassie. In my opinion, I feel this horse is going to gather a lot of money at the window. She will not be my top choice, but she's certainly a contender at first asking. Number 3 is clearly a test. You do get Jose Ortiz, who's, like I said, who's hot as anybody. Not overly impressed with the workouts. Great jockey, but I think this horse is an outsider in the field. For those that want to ride a hot jockey, I wouldn't fault you for taking Jose, but I'm not going to consider this horse in my race multiples or in my exotics. Certainly not to win. Soka is the number 4 horse by Speightstown. You know, Speightstown back in the day ran on turf, ran on dirt. Great sprinter. So great daddy. Flavian Pratt. She's a gray. Todd Pletcher. Whenever you got a horse making their first start out of the Pletcher barn, must be respected. However, the workouts are moderate. Not very excited about the workout tab. The connections are fabulous, which is going to give you an instant underlay, but I'm not a fan of using the 4 Soka in her debut. If she beats me, she beats me. Number 5 is Lady Blitz. Now, Lady Blitz, you get IRAD for Todd. Different story here. $320,000 yearling by Audible. Works over the track and has a race. Ran at Monmouth, wet track. Got all the money, but was off slow. I think Todd will make adjustments. Irad is a lot better than what the horse had at Monmouth and Gomez. I think Irad's going to elevate the horse some. I consider the horse a contender, but will not be in my top 3. Number 6 is Lady Moscato. Lady Moscato. You got Luis Sayas for D. Wayne Lucas, the coach. All 87 years of him. Very impressive, in my opinion, in the debut, going 5.5 panels at Ellis Park. So impressed that this horse is going to be my top choice. $800,000 daughter of Quality Road. Lots to like about her. Has a nice breeze at Churchill from the gate for this race. I definitely see the horse moving forward. You got a very dependable rider in the saddle. I think this is a horse to beat in the race, especially off her debut at Ellis Park. If she takes to Saratoga, she's going to be really tough. That's the 6, Lady Moscato. Number 7 is Sugar High. If you get high on sugar, perhaps it's a hunch for you. Sugar High's got Alvarado up for Belmont. Always intriguing. Daughter of Twirling Candy. $180,000 purchase as a yearling. Steady works. I was impressed with her line of works, and I'm a big Twirling Candy guy when I do my pedigree handicapping. A contender on your deeper tickets. She makes my top 4. Number 8 is Tap the Keg. You got to tap the keg when you run out of beer. Good barn. I think the horse is up against it. The works were moderate at best. Nothing really striking the page or opening my eyes. You get the gal on Kay Davis. Not for me. Not going to use the 8. Lastly is the 9, Honey Dijon. Now, Honey Dijon caught my eye. Great respect for the Joe Sharp barn. Daughter of Gervin. You get Tyler Gaffleon in the saddle. I like the Churchill work from the gate. Not once, but twice. 2 gate workouts. This horse, based on the barn and how I know they work, it's a challenging post going 5.5 furlongs in your 9-hole. But I think the game plan is going to be to run and gun this horse right out of the gate. And I wouldn't be surprised if the horse is forwardly placed early on. That's the 9, Honey Dijon. All right. So my order of finish in race 2, 6, 9, 2, 7, 5. 6, 9, 2, 7, 5. Be back in a moment for race 3. Okay, let's go to race 3. Now it's starting to heat up because now we have turf racing. Race 3, the Mellon Turf Course, $35,000 claimer, fillies, all have never won 2 races. So all the horses entered in the race, they have 1 solo win, there are no maidens, and they haven't won their second race yet. You know what? I wrapped my head around this race a few times because I'm starting to vision a speed duel that may ultimately collapse. There's some really fast horses in this race. They're going 5.5 panels on the turf. It's an exciting race when you see them coming down the lane. If the fractions are fast, and I feel they will be, there may be a speed duel collapse. Let me elaborate a little for you. So race 3, of course, fillies again, 5.5 furlongs on the turf, a field of 10. All right, the 1 is Fabulous Fanny, trying the turf for the first time, has some good races, Definitely impressed with her last at Oaklawn Park in April. An 84 buyer going wire to wire. A lot of speed with this horse. However, trying to turf for the first time. 2 really nice works coming into the race over the Saratoga Strip. So I looked hard and long at this horse because I wanted to consider the horse. But I think this particular filly is going to be one that is going to be in the mix early. Is going to falter. Number 2 is Rosemary Potatoes. Rosemary Potatoes. Gets blinkers. Not excited about her turf history. I like the fact that she's the daughter of Exaggerator. But performance over the track means a lot. And I just feel this filly is a cut below many of these in the race. And, you know, it's hard to be decisive, but this is a horse I can't use because there's just so many other faster fillies in the race. That's the 2, Rosemary Potatoes. Number 3 is Diva Ready. Now, Diva Ready is interesting. Bob Casares, Castellano, Javier Castellano. The horse has a couple of solid turf tries, 7 races, 6 different tracks. Coming back to Saratoga, she does have a run on a Saratoga lawn. She's had trouble in several races. Hasn't been out since November. Do I trust the barn off a layoff? Somewhat. Not out of it by no stretch of the imagination. By default, because of the body of work as a whole and the ability to sit a good trip, and if there is a speed duel, I feel like Diva Ready is going to be one of the horses who's going to come hard in the stretch. I'll get into my order as I go along. Smoking Hot Kitty. Horse graduated over the Toga turf, so it's a spa winner on the grass. Horatio De Paz is a barn I can appreciate. I know a lot about. Daughter of Kitten's Joy is always a plus. Manny Franco. Horse should be well bet, and it's a horse, a filly that needs a pace in front of her to mount a very powerful close. Is she a pure sprinter? I don't know. I got mixed feelings regarding that because, you know, it is a turf sprint, and I like to see a little more consistency at the distance, but she has won at the distance. So, you know, she won't make my top 4, but there's consideration in a very, very deeper gimmicks. Horse is going to need a trip. Number 5 is Mostly Harmless. Mostly Harmless is the 5. 1 win, 1 for 24. Carlos Martin, Junior Alvarado. Wasn't too excited about this horse. I think the horse is tactical. I think she'll be one of the horses in the first group up close, probably the first 3 or 4 up close. Doesn't have high speed. Outsider, by all means. There are other girls to kiss in the race. She won't be one of them for me. That's Mostly Harmless, the 5. Saratoga Gaze, the 6. Very excited about this horse. Mark Henning gets Flavian Pratt to get in the saddle. New York bred, 5-year-old mare. Very impressed with race replay. Cuts back from a mile, going back to 5.5 furlongs. Has the numbers that puts her square in the mix. I think she's versatile enough. She could be tactical. She's fast enough to be on the lead. But in this race with a lot of speed, I'm pretty sure the instruction is going to be for Pratt to sit like 3rd or 4th and make a big run as they turn for home. That's the 6, Saratoga Gaze. 5 for 8 in the money on the weeds as well. So the horse is very fond of the lawn. Number 7 is DeVilly. DeVilly is the number 7. 0 for 23. Slower buyers. Simply needs to improve. 4-year-old filly. has hit the board in all 5 turf sprints, but a cut below in terms of fractional times and speed figures. Can't kiss all the girls. Carmouche is up for James Ferraro. I'm not going to use this horse because the filly's been really dull in 23. Number 8 is Liana B. Liana B is the horse that I'm most concerned about being loose on the lead. High speed. I feel like all these girls are going to have her to catch. Luis Saez should gun this horse right out of the gate for John Kimmel, daughter of American Pharaoh. I have very little doubt she will be on the lead. They're going to have her to catch. I expect others to run close to her. And if it's a real fast pace, I think the horse is going to be a little bothered and falter in deep stretch. But there's always a chance that this 8 can get loose because Saez is an excellent rider on the lead. Daughter of American Pharaoh's no joke. High speed. First race versus winners. Graduated at Monmouth. I like her races back to back to back. Gulfstream Park, Aqueduct, and Monmouth. Proves that she travels well. There's a lot of speed in the race. I'm thinking she's going to tire if it's competitive and she gets eyeball, but she's a potential loose horse on the lead. That's the 8, Liana B. The 9 is Linnerite. Linnerite. First time versus winners, just like Liana B. Broke her maiden, a maiden tag. New York bred for David Donk. David Donk, one hell of a guy, wins every year at Saratoga. He's that joyous guy, little chubby, sweetheart of a guy, always wearing a Jets hat. David Donk, can't argue with his success, so he's a good conditioner, especially at the spot. And you get Jose Ortiz. Jose Ortiz, one of the hotter jockeys on the planet right now. Daughter of Mineshaft, but first winners. The consideration's going to be there for her in my top 3. I'll go over my order in just a second. Number 10 is La Aquila. Now you're going to get Irad Ortiz up for David Jacobson. Now David Jacobson's a sneaky good trainer, but the horse is 1 for 36. And when you're 1 for 36, you obviously don't have a nose for the wire. All due respects to this mare, 7-year-old mare, true veteran, many times hitting the board. In fact, on the turf, 8 out of 11 hitting the board. You're not going to get a great price because you have Irad on him. The horse has some closing ability. If it's a lightning fast pace, she may be coming in the stretch, but very unlikely for the win end. So with that said, hope you took it all in. My order of finish, race 3, Saratoga, opening day, is 6, 9, 3, 8, 10. All right, that's Saratoga Gaze, Linerette, or Linerite, that's the 9. The 3 is Diva Ready. The 8 is the Liana B. And the 10 is Irad. If he gets a perfect setup, because he's that good, but he's going to have to really be that good to get home a horse that's 1 for 36 lifetime. Okay, moving on to race 4. Race 4, another race on the turf. And this is a potential dogfight, a real dogfight. Fillies and mares again, 3 and up. Sometimes as a handicapper, you're knocking your head, you're looking for the right angle. This is the inner turf course, an optional claimer for $80,000. Race 4. Okay? Let's start from now there's an entry in the race, so I got to be specific with the numbers. So I'm just going to go over horse by horse. I'm going to start with the 2, Sister O'Toole. Hasn't been out since November. You get Saez up for Grand Motion. Dropping in class, has recently been running well and running solidly in graded stakes races. So there's a class edge here with this horse, but hasn't been out since November. 6-year-old mare, interesting, 2 for 2, in the money at the distance. I watched both races. The The horse is built for the distance. Did I mention this is a mile and a 16th? So inner turf, mile and a 16th, fillies and mares, 3 and up. Number 3 is Poca Mucha. Poca Mucha. This is Bill Mott. Looks like Rosario is up for Bill Mott. We got to check that on race day. Normally it's Alvarado, but the form says Rosario up for Bill Mott. I think the horse prefers the turf. Does have a big win at Saratoga on the lawn. Can't argue with success. I watched that race a few times. Very impressed with her closing punch. She came and really turned on the jukes in the stretch. However, not as consistent as some of the others in the race. That's the 3 Poca Mucha. Next on my form is Kansi, part of the Christophe Clement entry. That's the 1, Kansi. Tyler Gaffleone's up. Has a win at Saratoga. Always like to see that. A lot of horses that win at Saratoga the year prior or 2 years prior come back and win at Saratoga. Likes the lawn, 6 for 9 in the money. Rock solid, consistent in the last 3. She has a big win at Saratoga, cutting back some in distance. Hits the board as a contender for me in my overall handicap, but not my top choice. Messidor. This is Castellano up for Christophe Clement, the 1A. Part of the coupled entry. So if they both go, it's a pretty solid entry. I don't know if both will go. But the 1A is well spotted. Last year, ran her best race at Saratoga. It was an optional claimer for $80,000. This is an optional claimer for $80,000. Same type of race. 1 year later, she ran big. She won her race last year, July 27th. I was impressed with that. She's got collective works, all on the turf, all around the dogs. I like her workout pattern. It's a 3rd race, 23, so 3rd race off a layoff since she was gone in November. The first 2 were but she's dropping in class. She ran a pretty good number in the grade 3 last time out, but she was wide and just couldn't get the job done. I'm a little weary about the distance for this horse, but I think she's more of a sprinter. But that's Messidor. Next is Star Divine, the 4. Star Divine, the 4. She made my grade because it's IRAD for Mike Maker. Respect is there. Has the buyer numbers to compete here. 5-year-old mare. Has a few starts under her belt in 23. Wouldn't be a shocker, especially with the connections. But because you have IRAD up for Maker, you're not going to get much of a price on this horse, and the horse will be tactical. I just don't know if the horse is going to last going the distance. Let's see what happens. Number 5 is my top choice in a race. Salama. Salama, bred in Ireland. Chad Brown, can't go wrong always. Chad Brown's probably going to win the meet again. Make no mistakes about his conditioning ability. Flavian Prada making his 2023 debut. Last race was in December. So now you're looking at, 7+ months on the shelf. Beautiful looking gray filly. Well bet in the American Oaks, grade 1 over at Santa Anita. So when you see horses that were the favorite in a grade 1 race and then lay off for 7 months and then come back in an optional claimer, they're not going to lose the horse. Looks like the horse is, class alone is an immediate contender. I trust Chad Brown that the horse is going to be ready. And if the horse runs according to what I see on paper and what I saw on film, mind you, 2 for 2 on the turf at the distance, most likely winner. All right? That is the 5, Salama. with Pratt for Chad Brown. Number 6 is California Queen. California Queen made my board of contenders. Looked absolutely dynamically consistent and imposing in 21. I don't know what happened in 22. Lightly raced, came back in 23. The last gave me a little more confidence. It's the other Chad Brown. 3 for 17 lifetime, 3 for 17 lifetime on the win end. But on the weeds, 11 for 17 in the money. More importantly, at the distance, 4 for 4 in the money with 2 wins. It is Chad Brown. 2 races under his belt in 23. Runs every 2 months, needs a perfect trip, but likes the distance. All things considered, from the same barn as the other Chad, has to be considered as a contender in a race. I just like the 5 a lot more. Lastly is the bottom horse, which, by the way, I don't even have to go over because that's a main track only. The 7, only if there's a rainstorm. The horse is a daughter of Gunrunner. If the race is off the turf, this horse, 63 caliber, will be the favorite in the race, but almost a certain scratch unless it's off the turf. So in race number 4, Saratoga, opening day, got to look at my exact order. 5, 2, 6, 1A, 4, and 1. So the 5 is Salama. The 2 is Sister O'Toole. The 6 is the other Chad, California Queen. The 1A, there's my 1A here, is Messidor from the Kalanpan. The 4 is Star Divine with Irad for Mike Maker. And then the second half of the entry, the 1, who I give consideration to, is Cansey. Okay? So we got 4 races in. Let's move on to race 5.
In the Breeders' Cup Classic, Vino Rosso has taken the lead, and it's a vintage performance by Vino Rosso.
We're here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING. Get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator exclusively on DRF Bets.
Okay, we move on to race number 5. Real head scratcher. But you know what? As a handicapper, you like the challenges. If you haven't heard the term head scratcher, sometimes you have races where there's so much data and there's so much competitiveness, you ultimately have to be decisive, but you can make an argument for so many in the race. So here we go. Race 5. 9 furlongs, $20,000 claimer, 4-year-olds and up. So these are older horses, 1.1 miles, 9 furlongs, nice field. We have a field of, 10 or 11. I'll try to expedite the process. There's sometimes when you elaborate, it just eats up a lot of minutes. It's all part of it. I'm sure you can appreciate that, right? All right, so number 1 is Bold Victory. This gelding ran his best race at Toga, but he's been dull in 23. When a horse is dull currently, I look deeper into his prior races. I go back with him at the Spa last year. He ran well. Can he come back to that form? I think this is one of the horses that wants it wet. He's 7 for 8 in the money in the slop, or when it's wet. On dry tracks, he's only 1 for 12. So just do your math on that. Number 2 is Dust Devil. Now, number 2 is interesting to me. Second time Pratt, dropping down a bit in the claiming ranks, has a good race, not a win, at Saratoga over the soil last August, ran second, very, very similar type of company, running a decent buyer. He comes off a good improvement, going from a 77 to an 87 buyer at Belmont, stretching out each time. So he raced at a mile, he went to 8.5 furlongs, which is a mile and a 16th, and now he's going 9 furlongs, a mile and an eighth. I think this horse is going to be primed for a pretty strong stretch run. That's Dust Devil, the number 2. Now, Steiner is the 1A, part of the entry from Jeffrey Engelhardt. Gelding, a lot of races. Finger Lakes, had real good form in 22, but I couldn't find a reason for the efforts or lack of in 23. Nice work coming into the last race, going a mile and 70 yards at Finger Lakes. Still didn't get the job done. Didn't look intimidating in my race replay. Belongs in this field because he's got some strong buyers and he's tactical. When a horse has speed and is going to be one of the front runners, there's a very good chance there's going to be a competitive nature. And sometimes horses like that get loose in the lead. But based on his current form, I don't know, he's got to show me a little more. But dangerous if he gets loose on the lead and others don't go out with him. Number 3 is Pit Boss, Castellano, in the silks. Another horse that likes it wet. A gelding, son of Union Rags. Not overly impressed. Not a horse I'm going to use in this field. Number 4 is Only My Boy. Now, Only My Boy or Ollie My Boy, if that's how they pronounce it. This grabbed a lot of my interest for many reasons. Claimed by Philip Bauer, Tyler Gaffleone, raced in several tracks, raced well, making a Saratoga debut, newly gelded. The angle is something I'm not really dynamically happy about, but it is a plus. So newly gelded into the race. I'm a big fan of Union Rags overall in distant races. The horse is a Belmont Stakes winner. Competitive buyers. No reason why this horse shouldn't be considered in everybody's top 3. Got a good rider for a good barn, dropping down. I thought the drop down was a little suspicious because when you run for 50 and you come back for 20, so I'm going to watch the horse over the track, but I couldn't get past the horse. In this competitive field, a head scratcher, I couldn't get past the horse. But not on a 100% angle. My top 2 is more like a 60-40 type of thing, but I do like the horse. The 5 is Mount Travers. Not for me, can't use. Even though the son of Speightstown, who I really appreciate, but the lack of performance over the track, you get Johnny V in the saddle, probably going to bring down the price a little. He's got much to prove in a spot like this, especially going the distance. Portis is next. He's the number 6. Portis is impressive. Where'd I have him on my slate here? Okay, I got him in my top 4. Has a good race over Saratoga. He's only 2 for 22, which is concerning. Doesn't have much of a nose for the wire. Has some back class. Likes the distance. Built for the distance. Son of Tappet. Nice looking gray. So I'm impressed in some of the replays, and I was turned off on some of the replays. Doesn't have the consistency I like to see to win, but no doubt can hit the board in your triples and superfectas. Next is Silver Dust, who's the 7. You get Santana up for Jason Barkley. A $510,000 son of Tappet, another gray, as many Tappets are. Veteran, 19 for 59 in the money. Can't argue with that type of hitting the board success. Built for the distance. Only has one win at the distance, but I feel the horse wants to go long. Has been racing predominantly at Oaklawn Park and Churchill Downs. Has a race at Saratoga, didn't run entirely well, and gets blinkers this time. I think the blinkers will help, and the jockey change to Santana, who I can appreciate and who I think is consistent and reliable. That's the 7, Silver Dust. The 8 is Cut the Cord. Comes off a wire-to-wire win at Finger Lakes, but he's not for me. He's much slower than most of these. Next is 235, which is the 10. Opened my eyes a bit, some of his races, but doesn't have the consistency. 9-year-old Geldon likes it wet, so if it's rainy, he's a good horse to consider. 4 wins on a wet, but not for me as a 9-year-old. As is the 11, the bottom horse, Hammer and Aimer. Sayaz is up, but another 9-year-old Geldon. Grinder, veteran, but not made for the distance. 0 for 10, which is 2 shows. That is race 5, Saratoga. I'm going to take a short break. So recap in race 5, to just give you the precise order of finish so you know who you're going to use in your multiples and in your exotics for the race. In race 5, my top choice is number 4, which is Ali or Oli, my boy. My second choice is Dust Devil, the number 2. My third choice is the number 7, which is Silver Dust. My fourth choice is the 6. Where is my 6? Is Portos, and my bottom choice is the 1A, if he gets in, Steiner. So 4, 2, 7, 6, 1A. The 7 and the 3 are wild cards in this race. You know, if you're going to go really deeper, because it is a head scratcher, the 7 and 3 are like add-ons later on. But 4, 2, 7, 6, 1A. Let's go to race 6. Let's turn the page to race 6. Race 6. 5.5 furlong turf sprint again, the Mellon turf course, strictly restricted to New York breds. Let's hear it for the New York breds. It's an optional claim of $45,000, so we're sprinting on the turf on the Mellon, New York breds. We have a pretty deep field, goes all the way to 12, so I'm going to expedite this because there's a lot of horses in this race I don't like. And my best bet on the card is in this race. So to help you guys out in the 6, I'm going to give you my order of finish first, and I'll repeat it later on. This race is very likely to be an Ortiz brother exactas, and we've seen many of that. We've seen that happen very often, and I'll explain why when I get to the horses. But in race 6, this turf sprint, my order of finish is 42769. 42769. I'll be quick on going through the field because there's a lot of horses and I'm just trying to sacrifice a little time for you guys. But I know you appreciate when I elaborate. Number 1 is Foolish Ghost. 8-year-old gelding. It's got some speed. Not made for the distance, in my opinion. Even though he's speedy, not as fast as others. He belongs in this optional claimer type of race, restricted for state breds. I just couldn't use him in my final draft. Number 2 is Running with Scissors. Big time threat in the race. Ran a 94 buyer at Belmont on the weeds, 6 furlongs. This horse is probably going to be bet down to somewhere in the area of 8-5, 7-5, even 6-5, because you got Irad going up for David Jacobson. Made for the distance, made for the turf, has 13 lifetime wins. Another gelding, 7-year-old, tons of experience. Didn't win his only Saratoga mount or race, but I feel in this field, big threat to come off the pace and run him down. That's the 2, Running with Scissors, who is not my top choice, but to fill my exacta. Remember, I talked about the Ortiz brothers being the exacta. Number 3 is Bar 14. Blinkers come off. Nice work for the race at Finger Lakes. I can appreciate that. I always like a good work. But has been beaten by a few in this field. There's this other fish to fry. Not going to use Bar 14 in race 6. The 4 horses, Rough Draft. That is my top horse. And likely my best bet of the day, especially if I see him looking physically fit over the track. Rough Draft, Jose Ortiz up for David Dugan. Solid all the way around, cuts back a bit from 7 panels. Lightly raised compared to the others. Also a gelding, 4-year-old gelding, but his 3 races over the lawn, very impressive in my opinion. Going back to November, sprinting 6 furlongs, wins his debut, comes back, steps into an allowance race, facing winners the first time, wins again, runs an 84 buyer. And then at Belmont, after laying off for a couple of months, just misses. I mean, really just misses. Ran a big race, was a bit wide, and he just got caught at the wire there. So he's my top choice, and one of my top 2 best bets on the day, Rough Draft, the number 4 in race 6. Number 5 is Winner's Laugh. Ha ha ha. Winner's Laugh. He tries the turf, never been on the lawn before. This is the gelded son of Broken Vow, 6-year-old. Too much to ask for against various horses who were accomplished on the lawn. I couldn't find a way to use the 5, Winner's Laugh. Number 6, Manny Franco's up for Christophe Clement Yarrow. Very versatile horse. 5-year-old gelding. Gets blinkers. I would make an argument if you used him in your bottom gimmicks. Not as good as my top 2. And he didn't make my top 4 as well. Or did he? Yeah, he actually made my top 4. He is in my top 4. My order is 4, 2, 7, 6, 9. The 7 is my 3rd choice. This is the biggest threat to penetrate what I feel is going to be an Ortiz brother exacta. This is the 7, Phantom Smoke with Flavian Pratt. Pratt is a new rider change, son of Ghost Zapper, speedy. He's going to be a significant pace factor. 9 for 12 in the money on the turf, and 3 for 3 in the money at the distance. So if there is a horse in the race that's going to break into my cold exacta, my Ortiz brothers, my 4-2 exacta, it's going to be the 7. In fact, I like 4-2-7 as a cold triple, and 4-2-7-6 as a cold superfecta. The 8, Nueva New York, not for me. First turf, too slow, throw out. Probably going to be 30-40 to 1. The 9, Me and Snap. He won at the Spa. I always like to see that. David Donk, I spoke about him. He's a successful conditioner at Saratoga. Nice guy, Jets hat. Outsider, because of David Donk, to hit the superfecta. He's my 5th choice. Everybody else is main track only. If there is a lot of rain, for some reason, they take this race off the turf. I love, love, love the 12-10. The 12 is a major threat. He'll have Jose Ortiz in him, but he won't start because the race is going to be on the turf. Let me give you a second horse in case it's off the turf. The 12 would be my top choice off the turf, and the 10, Radio Red, would be my second choice if it's main track. Main track 12-10 on the turf, 4-2, best bet of the day to 4. Nice exacta, maybe pay $14, $15, $17 for a deuce. 4-2-7-6-9 is my cold order of finish in this race. That's race 6 at the Spa. Let's go through race 7, and I'll take a short break to wind down the big races, the final pick 3, races 8, 9, and 10. Race 7, fillies and mare, 3 and up. All right, several in the race, several fillies in this race and mares are coming into the race with winning streaks. Sort of a head scratcher, but I was became decisive as I went further on in my handicap. So again, 7 furlongs, very unique distance on the dirt at Saratoga. $50,000 allowance race. Fillies and mares, 3 up. 3 and up. The one is Into Happiness, Into Mischief horse. Big fan of Into Mischief as a sire. One is last. Running wild by 12 lengths at Belmont. Made me look at the horse even more. But at the end of the day, even though for deeper, multi-race wagers, I could understand someone using them, didn't make my top 4, be my 5th choice in a race. Into Happiness. Expect the horse to be somewhat tactical and to look for a stretch run late. The 2 is Carbon. Let me adjust my orders here so I'm reading it right. The 2 is Carbon. Hard hitter. Nothing wrong with the horse. Alvarado up for a good barn. Has proven it the distance. He's had some trouble in various trips. Sort of been stuck in a condition. Hard hitter meaning 9 times hitting the board in 14 starts. Horse likes to run. But again, in a field that's pretty deep, I couldn't use the 2. The 3 is Miscreant. Lascano is up for Phil Serpy. 2 months on the shelf, comes in off a layoff. I felt the turf is best for this horse, not 7 panels on the dirt. Broke his maiden pretty well on a synthetic over at Gulfstream. Coming in from Florida, so you got a shipper from Gulfstream Park in Florida trying Saratoga for the first time. The 4 is My Girl Jow. My Girl Jow, not for me entirely. Only win was a maiden tag win at 41-1. Put a line through the horse. I can't use him. Maybe you will. But not for me. The 5. Much consideration for this. Let me get the name right. Safodara. Maybe that's how they pronounce it. Blink is on. You get IRAD for Richard Dutrow. Lots to like about this horse. 4 consecutive seconds. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 consecutive seconds. And you know what? He gets IRAD. If IRAD was on this horse for all 4 of those races, he probably wins at least 2 of them. Maybe 3 or 4. So the horse is consistent and reliable, proven at the distance. This is his 2nd off the layoff. Gets IRAD. It's a 5-year-old mare. Going to take some beating. Should be bet. Major contender in the race. Very dangerous. That's the 5. 6, Icy Reply. Daughter of Keen Ice. Now, if you remember, Keen Ice beat Triple Crown winner American Pharaoh at Saratoga in the Travers. So Keen Ice is the daddy. This is a filly, daughter of Keen Ice. Nice triple need. Probably going to get a price. Consideration for triples, superfectas, no doubt. Must consider as a contender. Like that she'll be tactical. Forwardly placed in the order. Doesn't win often. 4 for 35 lifetime and hasn't won on the lawn. But can't totally dismiss the daughter of daughter of Keen Ice, who defeated American Pharaoh at the Travers that year at Saratoga. The 7 is Grateful Rose. Not for me. Not fast enough. Tossing. Kendrick Carmouche for Michael Gorham. But I'm not using Graceful Rose at all. The 8 is Miracel. Last win was her best. $25,000 claimer for Richard Dutrow. Manny Franco is back up. You know, he's seeking his third straight. She's seeking her third straight. Making a Saratoga debut. So this is a hot horse making her debut at Saratoga. Would have to win third straight. You know, I would give consideration in your deeper gimmicks because the horse is in great form. Good rider, good barn. The 9 is, I put a staple bean, Condiment Girl. Another one making her spa debut. Ellis Park Romp. The race at Ellis Park was dynamic. $30,000 claiming race with Kristen Torres up. Nothing wrong with that race. Comes in now, making Saratoga debut. Going 7 panels now into an allowance race. You know, dangerous. Dangerous off his last because of speed. When you got that kind of speed and you win that impressively, I think the horse can move forward again. So the 5's a big threat for the exacta here. And I'll get into that in my final order. The 10 is Jose Ortiz. We talked about how hot Jose Ortiz is. Ellis Park Shipper. One really strong there going 6 panels. Claimed. Linda Rice. Automatic contender in the race. Must be considered. Especially because she's got tactical speed. You like horses on the lead. Going 7 furlongs. Could sit second or third with a good trip. And if the lead's available, this horse may be aggressive enough to take the lead, but I'm seeing maybe sitting second or third for a big stretch run. And the 11 is Needs Some Money. Gaffleone is a new rider change for Thomas Amos. Not a complete throwout, but didn't make my, final order. Classy, nice, good, strong, hard-hitting filly, but can't kiss all the girls, and I didn't kiss her. So in race 7 furlongs, my full order, 5, 9, 10, 6, 1, 8. By the way, my top 5, all of them can win. So if you're going to go with a deeper pick 5, you may want to use them all, but my focus is on the 5, 9, 10, and 6. The 5 is my top choice. That's Irad in Savfordata for Richard Dutrow. Then I talked about the 9, of course, Condiment Girl. Also, that's for Diodoro. Very fit, coming in from Ellis Park. Major win there. Who is the 10? Oh, the 10 is Jose Ortiz. We talked about that. So 5, 9, 10. Now the 9 and 10 is sort of like a 50-50 split, but I had to be decisive and put somebody second. So it's 5, 9, 10, 6, 1, 8. Full order of consideration, race 7 at Saratoga. I'll be back at you in a minute, maybe less, to cover the late pick 3, inclusive with the grade 3 Schuylerville, which has been run for 105 years. Beautiful race. We'll talk about that in a moment. We'll cover races 8, 9, and 10. Be back shortly.
Maybe it cost you more than 20, Frank. Maybe more than 20 in your jokes.
Hey, we've reached race 8. Opening day, Saratoga, the late pick 3. Final pick 3 of the day. Very intriguing race because I feel it's going to produce what could be a large exacta, a large triple, and a large superfecta. Something we all love when the tote board blows up now and then. Okay, race 8 is 1 mile on the inner turf. Starter allowance, 50,000. 3-year-old colts and older. Colts and geldings. Many geldings in the race. Number 1 is Thunderaning. Florent Guru is up for David Jacobson. Now remember, David Jacobson, I told you, manages a very good barn. Sneaky trainer, but consistent and reliable. But in this race, it's a 3-year-old facing older horses. Does have a win at the distance on the lawn, which I like to see. But I don't think he's matched right against many in the field here. Should be tactical early. Like I said, proven at the distance, but from a matchup perspective, I just think others in the field are consistently more faster. Even though I like the connections, Florent Guru for David Jacobson, I just don't think this horse is going to be there in the end, so I'm not going to use him. Number 2 is Born a Gambler. Many of us are, right? Franco from Mike Maker. Last was really nice. Very impressive. Same class. $50,000 claiming race. Now going into an allowance. Mile and a 16th. Ran the field down running a 79 buyer at Belmont. So he's coming off a nice win. However, I look at this race as a step up for the horse. Definitely a contender off of that because he's been pretty consistent. The horse always shows up. The gelded son of Overanalyzed, 4 years old, has hit the board 5 of 8 turf tries, winning 1, being in the exacta another 3 times. By default, he deserves the consideration. Nice work July 5th, breezing at Belmont for this race. This horse could probably be somewhere in the area of 5, 6, 7, 8 to 1 range. I don't think any less than that. I'm definitely going to consider this horse in my superfectas because of his reliability, consistent for sure, likes the lawn, comfortable on the lawn, and you can't go wrong with Mike Maker and Manny Franco going up for Mike Maker. Number 3 is Frontman. Sort of an outsider in the race. Does have 4 turf wins. 6-year-old gelding. Lightly raced over the last few months. Second race off a long layoff. Ran in October. Didn't do much running then. Came back June 17th. Ran a pretty good race. Wins, but for cheaper, $25,000 claimer. Now steps up, comes back to Saratoga where the horse did run well and have a win over the Saratoga lawn. The gelded son of Pioneer of the Nile, 4 turf wins, but none at the distance. Something I don't like. That's the 3. The 4, My Sea Cottage. Many things to like about him. Irad up for Mark Casse. Very fast gelding here, 5-year-old. speed to be a menace early on, proven at the distance. He's got to go 8 furlongs, the full mile here. Fits in the class. I think Irad's going to have this horse on the lead or right off the lead. Proven at the distance, 8 starts, 2 wins, 4 other times hitting the board. Can't argue with that type of success. Is making his Saratoga debut, but based on his last few, the horse is squarely right there. I mean, loves the mile distance, just missed his last 2. His last 5 or 6 races he's been consistent and reliable. I think he's sitting on a big one, to be honest with you. I think Mark Cassay's done a good job with this horse. Obviously, Irad adds to the appeal. He's going to get money, but Irad could be your top choice for a win here. And then there's some nice price horses, like I spoke about, for the Exacta, Triple, and Superfecta, which I'm going to get into. The 5 is Kingfish Stevens. Power closer, gets blinkers, Carlos Martin, Javier Castellano. He does have nice closing punch. I marked him down to be used in my deeper supers. Remember, you have to be decisive. I guess because he comes into this after a series of pretty consistent races. His bias puts him right in there with the rest of the field. I don't like him on the win end, but I would definitely consider him. He's my 5th choice in a race as I looked at my order. But he could sneak his way into the triple or the super, but I'm counting on my top 4 being my top 4. The 6 is Unleash the Power. Never supported at the window. Now he's got Sayaz on him for Albert Stall. Has some numbers to be competitive in this race. He's won before at a balloon price over at Ellis Park, 29-1. Horse paid $60 before. For some crazy reason, even though he has many tries, he's never really supported at the window. Double-digit odds every single time. 25-1, 15-1, 38-1, 24-1, and so on. And he won at 29-1. In this particular spot, I'm not a big fan. He's stepping up a bit. His works have been a little slower for my liking. Sayaz adds to the appeal, but, you know, you can't kiss all the girls and you can't kiss all your geldings either. So I'm not going to use this 6. I hope he doesn't come back to beat me. The 7 is Dream Point, Flavian Pratt. First time Pratt going up. Horse is 0 for 3 at Saratoga. You know, I watched the races. Didn't do much running. Does have his maiden win, which he just recently graduated. He's stepping into an allowance race. Some may take a stab at him, but I think it's too much to ask for this horse in this spot. So I'm not using the 7. The 8 is American Grant. Last 2 going turf. You know, at Belmont, going a distance, a little longer, so he's cutting back to the mile here. Kenrick Carmouche is up for Bruce Brown. Son of Commissioner, again, was running primarily in state-bred races. It's a New York bred. Then he got into open company. Didn't have the best posts, but he's beaten by a few in this race. You know, this whole body of work leading to this race, I couldn't side with him. I had to leave a few out, and I'm leaving him out. Number 9, Foliage, very, very interesting. Tyler Gaffleone for Joe Sharp. Stretching out from a series of sprint races, now going a mile. Comes off a big win at Belmont for $30,000 on the claim. Now It's a question whether he moves forward or not. I think he's going to. I like the 9's chances. Part of the reasons why I feel this could be a big price race, because I think the 9 is very capable of making your triple. I'm expecting him to go forward from his last. I like his work July 7th at Belmont, breezing in 36. Hasn't won at the distance on a turf because he's a turf sprinter. So by Speightstown, this time they're stretching him out. I like his work, like I said. I believe in Tyler Gaffleone. First time he's going to ride the horse. Look for him to be coming late with a power close. The 10 is Consultant. Lascano's up for Rob Clasaris. Son of Malibu Moon, 4-year-old. Maryland bred. You don't see many Maryland breds win at Saratoga. But the horse does. He's making his Saratoga debut. He is 5 for 6 in the money at the distance. Again, it's a process of elimination. I'm not going to use him, but I wouldn't blame someone if they chose to use him in their deeper gimmicks. Now the 11, Bricko. Santana's up for James Bond. This is a New York bred that strikes a chord with me because he's made the number before. He's won at Saratoga on the lawn before, at the distance. Loves the distance. 5 out of 8 in the money. But it's that race at Saratoga I took a good look at from last July 22nd. You should watch it yourself. He ran an 80 buyer, 11 horse field. He was tactical. He was set up for a good run in the stretch, and he did not disappoint. That day, he had Luis Sayas on him. He's gone through several jocks since. Gomez, Torres, Alvarado. Now they're going to Santana. This is a New York bred that's almost assured to be a square price in this race. He's in the 11 hole. Nice looking gray. I think he's poised for a big stretch run. He ran his best figure at Saratoga over this course last summer. I think he comes back to the scene of the crime and runs big here at a very robust price. That's the 11, Bricko. The 12, the bottom horse, is Jose Ortiz up for Linda Rice. Something you see often because they're family. Ortiz is married to Taylor Rice, who is the niece of Linda Rice. Anyway, blinkers off, only 1 for 16. He's trying a turf. Son of Gunrunner, probably won't get in. I think they're going to scratch him. First time for the turf, I'm anticipating a scratch. As for the also eligibles, the 13 Sonic Speed, you got to like the horse if it's off the turf, but I would like Dreaming of Toga, the 14, even more so if the rains came, if it was off the turf. So off the turf, I'm on 12, 14, 1. Jose Ortiz with Linda Rice, getting the blinkers off, and the 14, Dream of Toga. If it's off the turf, I'd like that exacta, 14, 12, 12, 14, using the 1 with them, who I'm not choosing on a turf. That's the Jacobson horse, Florent Garou. But my order of finish in this 8th race could be a big money maker. I'm going with the 4 on top, Irad to take care of business for Mark Casse and My Sea Cottage. Then 2 big prices. The 11, Bricko, who's probably going to be somewhere in the area of 15 to 20 to 1. And the 9, Foliage, Tyler Gaffaliano for Joe Sharp. So 4, 11, 9, then 2 on Born a Gambler, then fillers with the 5, 3, and 10. This is one of those races where you want to go deep in your supers and your triples and key a couple of nice exactas. If I'm right, the 411 or the 49 is going to pay really good. So that's race 8. I'm going to come back in a few after this brief commercial to go over the late double races 9 and 10. I like a horse a lot in the 10th. And of course, race 8 is the 105-year history of the Schuylerville, which is a grade 3 event. Sprinters. I won this race last year, so you'll appreciate who I like in the Schuylerville. I'll be back in a couple. Okay, we reached the late double, races 9 and 10. Let me go over race 9, the classic, underappreciated Schuylerville. 105 years of history. It's a grade 3 race, but always intriguing because you got the young girls, 2-year-old fillies, sprinting 6 furlongs. Schuylerville and Saratoga opening, they go together. That's when you know the meet has begun. We're running the Schuylerville, worked hard on the race. A lot has to do with the performance of most of the fillies' first race, their workouts, and their overall pedigree. So let me run down the field for you, and then I'll give you my precise order. I think I'm going to nail this race spot on. I'm always confident with all the races I handicap. All right, the number 1, Carmelina. Jose Ortiz is up for Robert Reed. Ran once at Parks, 4.5 furlongs. Not tested very much. Won, sort of dominated. Ridden out effortlessly, but not overly impressive, in my opinion. I watched the race. Nice looking filly. Big effort in her debut. I'm not sure she's as good as others in this race. Number 2, Becky's Joker. Now this is the first timer that I'm really intrigued with, okay? The daughter of Practical Joke, coming from the Gary Contessa barn, one that I've been following for many, many years. Not highly regarded like some of the bigger barns and successful graded stakes race winning barns, but they have success. And Becky's Joker, by the way, written by Javier Castellano, I'm really interested, and then was further intrigued by the whole workout tab. I kind of like what she did. All right. Way back in May, 49 and 4 breezing. Saratoga all along. 5 furlongs, 101 and change breezing. Then going 6, 114 and 1 breezing. Then back to 5, 101 and 1 breezing. Another one, July 2nd, 101 breezing. Then I love July 7th, a quick one. It's not a gate work, but 3 furlongs and 34 and 4. I'm getting the feeling that this horse is a runner. This filly's going to come out running from the 2-hole. That's Betty's Joker. Big, probably a nice price too, a generous price, and a contender in my eyes. Number 3 is Union Street. Franco's up for Grand Motion. Daughter of Union Rags. Horse has 2 races under her belt. She won her debut in Indiana. Came back to Belmont. Bolstered up another furlong to 5.5 from 4.5. And ran a pretty close second. The only knock on this horse is that the race times and her buyers weren't overly impressive. A 49 and a 45. She's got to run faster. Let's see if she does it tomorrow or Thursday on race day. The 4 is Statistica. By Upstart. Won her debut at Belmont. 5 furlongs from off the pace. Looked good doing it too. Rosario was up that day. Rosario is back on her. Rudy Rodriguez, a very well-regarded conditioner in the New York NYRA racing circuit. I'm sure the filly's going to be ready. I gave her a couple of check marks. You'll see where I land with her when I go over my full order of finish. Not sold on her. I don't think she's as good as others because of the speed rating she had in that debut. The 5 is Saratoga Secret. Many Saratoga players will like to play the name for the Schuylerville Day. Luis Saez adds to the appeal, and so does, I feel he's could be 88 years old now. God bless him. The coach, Dwayne Lucas, is the trainer. Saratoga Secret began her career at Ellis Park. One going away. Nice buyer, 64. Nice looking daughter of Arrogant. So there's a lot working in favor of this horse. Also has a nice work coming into the race. Definitely a contender. I have her on the board. Actually, she's my 3rd choice. Could be upgraded to my 2nd choice, but lots to like about Saratoga Secret, the 5. The 6 is Closing Act. Stephen Asmussen has Tyler Gaffleone in the Silks. Daughter of Munnings has 2 races under her belt, winning back-to-back. At Churchill Down, 4.5 furlongs. Nice race, not overwhelming, but, started a step slow, came on, just got up by a neck. More impressively, was winning the Astoria Stakes, 5.5 furlongs at Belmont, even though I thought she should have run faster. When you win your first like that and you go another furlong, especially if you're going to be regarded as a high-regarded young filly, 2-year-old filly, I thought she'd run a buyer in the mid-60s, close to 70, and all it was a 53. So some question marks about her overall ability. Number 7, Why Not Tap, deserves all the recognition that she's going to get. Won her first with a 76 buyer, wire to wire, basically at Belmont. She sat a little off the pace intentionally, then turned on the jukes in a stretch, was bet down to just about even money. Todd Pletcher Bond, Irad Ortiz, the connections are there as we know it. I tried, but I can't look past this horse. $600,000 yielding purchase, daughter of Tappet, a very, very nice looking gray. Not all grays are pretty. This one's a pretty gray. You'll see her on race day. So, Wine Untapped, the number 7. I couldn't look past her. I think she's going to win the race. If not, she just gets beat and she's in the exacta, but she's my top choice. I'll go over my full order in just a minute. The 8, how'd I rank her? Kiss for Luck. Now I might say I got to kiss all the girls. You can't kiss this girl. You can't kiss too many in this race. Kenrick Carmouche is on her. Did run and win her first debut at Parks, 4.5 furlongs, 36 buyer. Was well bet, odds on at 4 to 5 for the Robert Reed barn. I just think the horse is overmatched considering the debuts of many of the others. Dancing Diana's the 9. Now this horse, this filly, a lot more intriguing than many of the others. Johnny V's up, won at Delaware, and not only won, but won impressively, visually impressive. If you watch the race, you see what I'm talking about. It was a maiden special weight, 42K, going 5, ran a 66 buyer. The but drew off in a stretch with conviction that she wanted to run, an indication that she's really going to be suited with that race experience and going 6 furlongs in this race. The 10 is Mila June's. Ken Sweeney, I always appreciate his barn. I'm a fan of it. Won at Monmouth over a wet, fast track. Off the pace, 46 buyer. Just not for me when, an instance where nice looking filly ran a nice race at Monmouth, but I feel she's being overmatched here. Not for me. And finally, the bottom horse, Pratt. Flavian Pratt's up for Mark Casse. Didn't draw a good post. The 11 hole in the 6 furlong sprint is not what you want when there's a lot of speed in front of you. But the horse closed powerfully. She showed a willingness too. She also didn't have the best of trips. This horse is a contender. That's the 11, Sugar Treat. The 11, Sugar Treat. The race she won was on the Tapeta, which is the synthetic track at Gulfstream Park. Tough post, but when you rally like that with conviction, that means you're a runner. And she's getting an additional 220 yards today with the furlong, and I think she's built for it. So, my order, and I'm going a little deep here, but you'll know why, because this is a big stakes race. It's the Schuylerville, so you want to play your triples and your supers. I'm not going past Wine on Tap, Todd Pletcher, and Ortiz. The 7's my top choice. Then I feel there's significant value with Becky's Joker, the 2. For everything I mentioned, Daughter of Practical Joke, the 2's my second choice. I'm on 7-2, 5-9-11. Jot that down. 7-2, 5-9-11. The grade 3 Schuylerville. I'll be back momentarily with the finale, the bailout race, race 10 at Saratoga. Race number 10, the finale. Opening day, Saratoga 2023. Ends with race 10. It'll be a race to pad our winnings. Or if we had some heartbreak losses, to bail out with a big win before we go eat a beautiful, very worthwhile Italian dinner and a few nice drinks after a great day at the track. Race 10, Saratoga. What we have here, most would think it's an opportunity for some big long shot to come in because of the type of race it is. I don't see it being that long, but New York bred fillies, maiden tag, 40,000, state bred. Going 1 1/16 on the turf. Now, of course, the 1 1/16 is 8.5 furlongs. So you have state bred restricted, New York bred fillies, Mellon turf course, state bred $40,000 maiden claimers going to 8.5 furlongs. And we have a bunch of horses running, plus a bunch of also eligibles. I don't think they'll get in, but I will share a thought on those as well. Number 1 is Power and Glory. Feel good for Nick Juarez to get the mount. It's his only mount of the day. He's a good jockey over at Monmouth locally here and down the Jersey Shore. I don't see much in the horse for this particular start, but it's a 5-year-old mare. So she's got experience. Recently, she's picked it up a bit, but all things considered, she's cheap. She's had a number of opportunities. She's hit the board 3 times. I took a look at her on tape. Not overwhelmed with her physique. So I'm not going to use Power and Glory to 1, even though I feel good for Nick Juarez. Number 2 is Charisse. Jose Lascano's up for Mark Hennig. Now, this horse is dropping from a state bred special weight. That's all the horses run in his 4 career starts. Has a pretty good buyer, last buyer 59, dropping into the tag. I would consider this horse to be in my slate of 5 who I feel are contending to win this race. Ultimately should be my 5th choice, but I wouldn't fault someone because of the big drop. Remember, it's the most significant drop in the sport. More so in open company, but even with state breds going from a special weight, 75,000 special weight down to a 40,000 mating tag. The 3 is Bella Sonadora. Mike Luzzi is up for the Figueroa Bond. Also dropping from a special weight. Basically didn't show much in her debut at Aqueduct. Dropping in for the tag and getting Lasix as well. Needed to show me much more in her debut to consider here. I think this horse is going to be a pretty big long shot considering the connections, and one that I'm going to stay away from. The 4, Stone of Destiny. Very, very intrigued. Like this horse a lot. Fillies by Destin. I took a look at her. First race. Didn't win, but she went long on the turf, a mile and a 16th on the turf. For David Donk. We spoke about David Donk earlier. I have much admiration for him, his attitude and his conditioning ability. He wins at Saratoga. This is a great filly that showed, in my opinion, a lot of maturity in her debut. Was squeezed. She was in a fight. There was some bumping going on. Johnny V gets the mount again, back up. Absolutely love the 2 works, her 2 recent works, which I felt was a further indication that the horse is fresh and fit. Then she goes out and wins and runs that race. Didn't win, obviously, but, because it's a maiden race, but it was a special weight. Had a lot of trouble. Finished 7th. Wasn't too far off in that field. Second try. I think she's sitting on a big one. That's Stone of Destiny. It was just a maturity feeling I had in viewing her. So these are 3-year-old fillies. This horse has 1 start, and I'm feeling that way. And there are many in this race who have several starts, 6, 7, 8 starts. The 5 is April 1st. Much better post than she's had in the last 2. Also from David Donk. Manny Franco is up. I do like the other Donk horse, who I just spoke about, much more. Conversely, this horse had some chances in turf sprints, didn't get it done. Now they're stretching her out. I don't know. She did get a race at the Spa last August, trailed, albeit, it was a special weight. I just can't use this horse, the 5, April 1st. So Are You is the 6. Shannon Usky gets the mount. Kind of like her, female jockey, ran at Monmouth for many years, never was greatly successful. Now and then she'd pop a big one. It's nice to see her getting a mount. The horse is actually not a bad horse because ran in several special weights in open company at Finger Lakes. Had a race over the track at Saratoga on the weeds. I think the horse is made for the turf. The open company special weights are very intriguing. I would normally like a horse more like that, but I don't know. Shannon in this spot, even though dropping for a tag, I think it's too much to ask for her to be here, so I'm not going to use her. Sentimentally, I'd like to see her finish and hit the board, but I don't think she's gonna. The 7 is Arsemia. Flavian Pratt is up for Jorge Abreu. Nice connections there. Several decent races. 8 under her belt. 2 finishes in the money. Twice at the distance on the turf. Good buyers considering the class. Dropping from a special weight. Also has a special weight in open company. This horse has the ability to take it all. This horse is my second choice from the 4. This is an exacta I really, really like. All right? And I have the propensity for nailing exactas like this in maiden tags. Because I believe the 4 and a 7, the 7 and 4, they stick out or stand out against the rest of the field. So remember that. That's the 7. Flavian Pratt up for Jorge Abreu. Arsemia. The 8 is Mary Catherine. Low scale on the buyers. 3 races on the weeds. Didn't show much. I took a look at her on film. Wasn't impressed with her physique. Gomez is up for Natalia Lynch. Daughter of Constitution. I actually like Constitution as a sire, but, again, you can't kiss all the girls. And I'm not going to kiss Mary Catherine. The 9 is Follow the Fed. Relu Gutierrez for Rudy Rodriguez. This horse is going to be a pretty robust price. 2 races on the lawn, both at Belmont. Ran evenly, has stayed within the maiden claiming ranks of 40K. I wouldn't be shocked. I trust Rudy Rod, and I like Relu Gutierrez. So this horse is going to be my 4th choice at a price to make the superfecta or even make the triple juicy. The 10 is Here We Go Again. Luis Saez. Saez always adds to the appeal based on his talent alone. This horse is going to be well bet. The Falcone barn is a good barn. They win often. They win races like this. I just couldn't put my finger on a few things. By the way, the horse hasn't started since November. So you have a rather lengthy 9-month layoff. Never took any money. 4 career starts. Listen to this. 39-1, 81-1, 33-1, 31-1. Sure, Mike Luzzy was on the horse 3 times. That has a lot to do with it. The horse is dropping from a 75 tag to a 40 tag. Luis Saez always adds to the appeal. I can't rule her out entirely either. So, this horse has to be considered for a deep gimmick. Superfecta, triple. I don't see the horse finishing in the exacta unless you're going solely by the connections, which are good. And it's going to be interesting to see the money that this horse takes in at the window, if any at all, because she's never gotten the action. The 11 is Pinot Nova, Kendrick Carmouche for Danny Gargan. Danny Gargan is a good guy, my Facebook friend, very popular New York trainer. The horse has 9 starts, the most experienced in the race, 0 for 2 on the lawn, couple of close efforts, ran an open company special weights as a New York bred. Last 2 have been in the state bred ranks of the maiden claimer 40K. Can't dismiss entirely. Based on Danny Gargan's success, Kendrick Carmouche always tries. The horse has some speed. I see the horse being forwardly placed early in the race. That's the 11. The 11's going to round up my triple or superfecta. No doubt. Okay? You'll see this horse on the pace. An outside post pace factor. All right? When you run an open company maiden specials, drop down to a tag, and where most of your opponents ran in special weights that was restricted New York bred, you face better horses. So don't dismiss the 11. Actually, the 11 is going to be my third choice. I'm on 4, 7, 11. Then, of course, Sayers on a 10. And the 2 with Oscano, Clarice. Now, by the way, let me round out the field with the 12. Castellano's up for Michelle Nevin. Has some speed. Had many, many tries. Showed up on the turf a couple times, but the 12 is giving me the impression that she's going to be there early and she's going to fold. That's Janie May. Janie May is the 12. But you got to respect the speed. But can't kiss all the girls. I'm not going to kiss the 12. The also eligibles, just in case a couple get in or the race comes off the turf. I like the 16, Burning Nirvana, Franco for Dominic Stettino. Some nice tries. And the 14, Thundara. That's got Irad for Philip Antonucci. Like I said, they're both most likely not getting in, but in case they do get in, consider the 14 Thundra with Irad and the 16 with Franco up for Dominic Stettino. Well, there you have it. The full card. Every bit of it. Saratoga opening day. I will be there. I will be there Friday as well. I'm looking to make a lot of money. Some nice scores. If you believe you'll stick to the script, you're entitled to have your opinion. Always stay with your opinion. But if you're new to handicap and really embrace everything I'm sharing and what I've shared, and 10 race card, I'm going to have some solid winners. You know, when I've done full cards, the amount of time, I've had days where I have 6, 7 winners on top, 3 or 4 exactas, a couple triples. The possibilities are limitless. So thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in to Past the Wire TV. I should be in my reserve seats in the clubhouse, but I may be down in the paddock. If I'm in the paddock, look for the Ducat. I'll wave to yous. I'm going to have a good time. Also some good eats at night and a nice drink at night. So let's make it a big, big profitable day. Have fun. Who's better than us? Saratoga Meet has officially begun. I'll see you next time covering the Haskell on this same channel. You guys stay well. Stick to the script and believe.
Does it better.